Yo, welcome back to another episode of Please Be Happy. What are we on, like, part 10 now? Last one was really good. Go check that one out if you haven't seen it already. I don't know why you're watching these out of order if you haven't.
Ugh, it's about time. I was getting
Oh
bored.
man. I record these so late, man, after work and all that. Alright, let's go. After spending a bit more time walking around the gardens last night, Juliet and I went back to the library, and Aspen took a bus back to her apartment. Once we got back, I fell asleep almost immediately, my brain finally getting some relief from all the emotions of the last few days. In the morning, once I go downstairs for breakfast, it's pleasantly familiar. Toast, eggs, and fruit, like always. And conversation about books and work and Wellington. After cleaning up, but before Aspen departs, Juliet clears her throat.
By the way, Aspen, I do believe this weekend is a special occasion. Am I correct?
I had been trying to ignore that until now, but yes.
Let me guess. Book deadline or birthday?
Wait, what? What happens this weekend? This Friday is my birthday. A brutal reminder that, like we just discussed, time won't wait for me.
God, I'm great at reading the room.
Whoa! Humans have parties for that, right? Are you gonna have a party? No, I'm not turning 12.
Aspen, you can have a party. You can do whatever you want. It's your birthday, man.
How old are you turning? Not 12. I thought parties were a thing you got to do your whole life. That's not fair that only 12-year-olds get to have them. It's not like that. They're just one of those things that you grow out of.
Or never get to experience.
Why? Why what? Why do you grow out of them?
Her brow gets some more creases. She's trying to explain this as much to herself as to me.
It's just part of being an adult. You get older and older and you reach the real world and then you don't feel like having a party, I suppose. When you're young, it's exciting getting older because there's so much you can't do as a child. Once you're an adult, you realize that what you thought adult life would be like isn't real. So instead of being excited that there's cake and ice cream, you start worrying about how many calories are in each. What's a calorie? Never mind.
You know, Miho has a point.
She does? I do!
You're never too old to have fun, as you both went out of your way to remind me. 25 can be just as much a reason to celebrate as 5.
I suppose you're right. For the record, I'm only turning 24, thank you very much. Still, I'm not the partying type. Plus, I told my parents I'd go visit them this weekend. Just for a day, mind. I'll be back well before 24 hours have passed.
That's wonderful. I'm sure they'll be overjoyed to see you.
I'm sure they will be, at least for a little while. I still wouldn't want to stay for more than a weekend, even without Miho to keep in mind. Longer than that, and my mum and I would probably go crazy. I'm not leaving Welly until late Saturday evening, though. Would you mind going with me to the bus stop on that day, Miho? Just to be extra safe. Yeah, of course.
Even without a party, would you let us treat you to dinner on Friday evening? We can go wherever you like.
That would be nice, thank you. No gifts, though. It won't be a party. That's easy, because I wouldn't know what to get you anyway. Where do you want to go? I'm not sure yet, but I'll let you two know. Maybe you can come over on Friday evening, and we'll go from there. Come over? Where? To my apartment? I do have my own place to live, you know. And, well, it isn't anything special, but I felt I should at least let you two see it. Only if you want to. Of course I want to! I mean it. It's the definition of average. I'm not even sure if it can fit 3 people.
I lived in a dirt hole for most of my life. I can handle anything.
Good point. You'll feel right at home then.
I'd love to come visit as well. Thank you for the invitation.
Great. I'll clean up and make sure the cats are on their best behavior. It's been quite a while since we've had company.
I can't wait!
The 3 of us chit-chat for a little bit longer, until it's time for all of us to split up for the day.
Miho, do you have any plans for the day?
Not yet. Why?
I was planning to go see a movie soon. Would you like to come with me? You're more than welcome too, of course, Juliet, but I imagine it's rather late for you.
Unfortunately so. I'll be up a while longer, but I wouldn't be able to make it through an entire movie. I hope that you enjoy it, though.
I understand. Miho? It's fine if you don't want to come along, but the showing starts in an hour, so we'd need to leave soon. I prefer to get there before it's crowded.
Watch a movie with Aspen? Rest at home with Juliet. Also, I'm slurring my words because I'm sleepy. But, I mean... No save's coming. No save's coming. We'll go watch a movie with Aspen. Even though... Because Juliet's just gonna be asleep, right? I mean, You guys... Buy the game. Buy the game, find out your own roots, alright?
Sure, I'll go. It's like watching a really big TV, right?
I kinda just want to see Miho's reaction to a movie, man. Like a movie theater.
Precisely. I'm sure you'll have a great time. Have fun, both of you. I'll see you two later.
See ya!
Good night!
With that, Juliet waves goodbye and goes to bed.
Are you ready to go?
Yep, I am.
Aspen leads the way outside and down the road.
So what movie are we gonna see?
It's based off a book that I read a long time ago. I should have mentioned that it's a horror movie. That won't be a problem for you, right?
Nah, it's fine. What's a horror movie?
A scary movie. This one's about a creepy clown that terrorizes a small town.
Is this book it?
A clown? How is that scary?
Well, he's not a regular clown, although those are frightening enough on their own. You'll just have to see, I suppose.
Alright. I didn't know you liked scary things.
I don't watch them that often, but like I said, I read the book a long time ago, so I already know what happens. It's just interesting to see how well it gets translated to the screen. If it ends up being too much for you, just let me know. Not everyone has the stomach for these sorts of films.
Okay.
The movie theater is on the same street as the Bell House, but a lot further down. It's the one that Juliet showed me before. Back then, I told her that I didn't think I'd be interested in scary movies, but here I am anyway. It's not something I'd go see by myself though. Aspen pays for both of our tickets, saying I can just pay her back later. We go inside through a pair of glass doors like the ones at the museum.
Do you want any snacks?
Popcorn and soda, please.
Of course! What do they have?
Well, traditionally you have popcorn at the movies. They also have candy and other things too.
They cost an arm and a freaking leg, dude.
If you'd like, we can share some popcorn.
Sounds good. I've never had popcorn from a machine like that before.
Let's change that then.
Aspen goes up to the counter and places our order while I wait nearby. A minute later, she approaches me, carrying an enormous tub of popcorn. It's at least as big as my head, ears and all.
Whoa, that's huge!
Considering how much they charge for it, it's only fair. Come on, let's go sit down.
I follow her down a hallway and through another door, where I finally get my first look at the movie screen.
Whoa! That's huge too!
It makes my TV look like a toy in comparison. In fact, it's probably bigger than my entire room. We go up some stairs and then sit down in one of the back rows near the middle. Aspen holds the bucket of popcorn in her lap and grabs a handful right as something starts to play on the screen. Immediately, my ears are assaulted by blaring music and booming speech. With the sound coming from all over, I instinctively cover my ears at first. Oh, yeah, I forgot. Fox ears. Sorry, mijo. Apologies. I just thought you might enjoy the movies.
Is it supposed to be this loud?
I have to yell just to make myself heard.
Yes, but we're not. It's like the library. These are just previews for other movies that are coming out soon. But once the real thing starts, we're not supposed to talk. Although, it's not like there are many other people around that we'd be disturbing.
She's right. We're the only people in the theater right now. This must be why she wanted to see the movie this early in the day. Oh yeah, I absolutely love it when the movie theater's empty, man. I think the last movie I saw was Nope. Yeah. Good movie, by the way. Eventually, I get used to the volume level. I grab a handful of popcorn from the bucket to munch on, and I'm surprised by how tasty it is.
Whoa! This?
I slap my other hand over my mouth to shut myself up, which makes Aspen laugh. She leans over to whisper,
It's fine. We won't bother anyone. It's just good to know for the next time you see a movie.
Oh. Okay. This is really good.
We sit through a few minutes worth of previews before our movie finally begins. Aspen and I, mostly me if I'm being honest, are almost halfway through the popcorn already. The movie gets right into the action. Within the first couple of minutes, the clown Aspen mentions is already causing chaos. I thought clowns were supposed to be funny, but apparently this one didn't get the memo. I'm not bored, but I'm not exactly scared either. At one point, there's a loud bang as the evil clown jumps out of the darkness. Beside me, Aspen jumps in her seat, almost spilling the popcorn on the floor. Embarrassed, she wraps her arms tighter around it so it doesn't happen again. The movie lasts a lot longer than I expected. By the time we leave, it's almost lunchtime, although I'm too full of popcorn to be hungry. Stepping out into the sunlight, I notice Aspen's face is pale and she wipes her hands on her blouse.
So, how did you like it?
It was alright. I don't think I was ever very scared though.
That's good. I thought I would be okay since I knew what was going to happen, but it startled me a few times.
What was the last movie in recent memory to actually scare me? Lake Mungo. Lake Mungo and The Wailing. Yeah.
Yeah, I noticed.
At one point, she was even covering her eyes.
Well, there's a reason I don't watch those types of movies very often. I'm glad you had a nice time, though.
Yeah, thanks for inviting me. Maybe next time we can see something that's easier to watch.
Finally, Aspen manages a smile.
Yes, I'd like that.
Yeah, go see a kung fu movie. Okay. Dude, I get the point with the kid, but we probably should help the kid. I don't know if it makes a difference in the long run. I could also just hop off to wherever, but hey, I want to hang out with Fisherman. Okay, listen, I'm sorry guys, but if you want to find out what happens to the kid and his divorce problems, you go deal with that at the library. I'm going to the waterfront. I'm going fishing. Feeling bored, I head down to the waterfront and Mr. Kim's fishing lessons. This will be the third time that I've gone. I was prepared to give up last time, but actually catching a fish was a lot more satisfying than I thought it would be. I'm sure I'll keep doing it in the future too. I guess that makes it one of my hobbies at this point. At the very least, it's been better than just wandering around town. When I get there, I'm surprised to find the fishing spot is empty, other than Mr. Kim himself. He's sitting on a folding chair with a sandwich in one hand and a book in another. He sets down both as he notices me arriving.
Hey there, miss. Something I can help you with?
Oh, I was here to go fishing, but it doesn't look like anyone else is here.
If you're looking for a lesson, then I'm afraid the pool's closed, which is to say the next one doesn't start for a couple of hours. But if you just want to try your luck with the ocean, you're more than welcome to borrow a rod.
Sure. Thanks.
Now that I know what to do, I don't really need Mr. Kim to walk me through it each time. I should be fine on my own. I attach a lure and then cast my line out into the water.
I hope I don't catch the same fish as last time.
Since there's not much else to do, I look out to sea while I wait. It's been a long time since I've been on a ship, or even a boat. A long time ago, they were the best way to get around. Ever since there started being airships going all over the world, I sneak onto those instead. While I'm standing there reflecting, Mr. Kim comes up beside me.
No bites yet?
Nope. Nothing.
Maybe the fish all went out to eat.
Like usual, he takes a moment to laugh at his own joke.
That's fine. I had to wait even longer than this last time.
That's the right attitude to have. They can keep you waiting for a while.
You've been waiting for a long time for a certain fish, right?
Spot on. Who told you about that?
I took one of your lessons a while ago. You told me about it then.
Huh. Well, my memory sure isn't what it used to be. Anyway, you're absolutely right. Not just any fish. He's the king.
The king?
The way Mr. Kim says it sounds dramatic.
Yes, the king of the ocean. He travels the waters of the world, all on his own. He takes his meals from a different fisher every night. It's said that if he chooses you, you'll have 7 years of good luck.
He winks, giving me a big thumbs up.
Not a bad deal for catching a fish, right?
7 years. Wow.
Sounds pretty nice, doesn't it? To tell you the truth, I don't care too much about that. But the privilege of being recognized by the king of the ocean, now that is a prize worth chasing.
So, if he's always swimming around the world...
I try to picture in my head. That's a lot of water.
He only comes by once a year. 1 day is all you get, and then he's on to his next stop. And then the next fisherman.
No wonder you've been waiting for so long then. How many years have you been after him?
Oh, I've given up counting at this point. 16, 17, who's to say? I stopped keeping track at least 5 years ago. I've seen him once, which is more than many can say, but he swam right past our shores. I heard he was landed a few towns away.
I'll bet he must be huge if he's the king.
He's not tiny, that's for sure. His scales are every color at once, and they look like gemstones in the water.
Whoa. I want to see him.
You'll get your chance in a few months. He's due to swim past Wellington a couple of weeks before the new year. You can bet I'll be ready.
I'll try to. What do I have to do?
That's up to you. Some say it's just luck. Some say it's about having the tastiest looking bait. Some say the only thing that matters is where you're standing when he passes by. For me, I try to get to know the fish and the sea. I figure if they trust me, they can put in a good word with the king,
Mr. Kim talks to me about the fish and fishing a while longer, until it's time for me to head off. Although I didn't catch anything again today, I still liked hearing those stories, so it wasn't a waste of time. At the end, he invites me to come back and fish anytime, whether it's a lesson or not. I promise to take him up on his offer, even though I know he won't remember it. I'd like to see this king too. There's still a couple of months before he'll be here, so there's plenty of time for me to get better at fishing. With that new goal in mind, I head back home, already looking forward to returning. Yeah. Oopsie. Just gotta waste some normal time. Where do I want to go? Do I want another coffee? I want to go to the beach, the park, the botanical garden, which is actually spelled botanical here. I'll go to Mount Victoria. Clear ahead a bit. Sometimes I come up to the observatory just to enjoy the air. Something about being up high makes the air smell so good. Up here it's crisp, salty, a little bit like wet dirt and concrete. It reminds me of so many places I've been before, and yet it's also completely unique to Wellington. I feel like I'll always remember this smell. Cool. And now we're going to Aspen's home. Later in the evening, Aspen sends a message to Juliet to let her know that she's ready for us to come over, and the two of us walk down to the address she gave us. Juliet leads the way, of course, since I don't know many of the streets by name. We eventually arrive at an unremarkable-looking apartment building, just a few stories tall and without many decorations out front.
This is the place. I believe she's on the ground floor.
That's both a bonus and a terrible thing, because if you're on the top floor, there's less noise, but if you're on the bottom floor, you don't have to walk upstairs. Not too far away, one of the doors swing open, and Aspen pokes her head out to wave us over.
Miho, Juliet, over here. Aspen!
She holds the door open with one hand, while pushing something away with her feet.
No! Stay back, you two.
Oh, I know that motion. I freeze halfway to where she is.
What's wrong?
I said, no, not you, Miho. I'm talking to the cats.
Aspen gestures for us to come inside while keeping an eye on the floor. Julie and I hurry in, and Aspen shuts the door behind us.
Well, ta-da! Or something.
Whoa!
The entire place is just one room, except for a small bathroom. Right across from the door is a tiny kitchen area, and with a fridge, stove, and microwave. Oh, it looks so cozy. Look at all this stuff. Whoa. Is that a full-size window? Bruh. Everything else is basically a bedroom. There's a dresser, a small desk with a computer, and Aspen's bed itself. Some luggage and boxes are scattered around, which I'm guessing were part of Aspen's cleanup.
I hope that was the good kind of woe.
It's lovely, Aspen. I adore the fairy lights and plants. They make it feel very welcoming. Thank you for having us.
I don't know if that was strained or not, Juliet, but I do know a lot of people who like having those fairy lights up.
Yeah, thanks. It was a good whoa, don't worry.
I didn't really have any expectations, but I'm still kind of surprised by how small it is. I figured she'd be exaggerating that part at least a little. The decorations make it feel fitting for Aspen, though. Two pairs of green eyes peek at us from around the corner, and both cats go dashing under the bed as we step further in.
Sorry there's not more space to sit down. You can see why I don't have company over very often. You can sit on the bed if you'd like. Or the computer chair.
Oh, it's fine. I'm okay on the floor.
I take a seat with my back against the dresser, while Juliet sits down on the bed as invited. Aspen ends up taking the sole chair for herself. Almost as soon as I sit down, I spring back up, remembering the occasion.
Oh yeah! Happy birthday!
Yes. Happy birthday, Aspen. Here's to another wonderful year.
Thank you. This year has been
Ah.
pretty good, I must say.
I'm sorry. I relaxed again too much. Also, I'm sleepy. Narrowing my eyes, I inspect Aspen, who notices and frowns at me.
Can I help you?
You don't look any older.
Miho, please.
I'm glad to hear that. It doesn't just happen overnight on your birthday, though. Not that you would be aware of that, I suppose. Anyway, enough about that. Are you too hungry? We've already done everything there is to do here, I believe. Now you understand why I never have people over.
Play a board game, Aspen. They'll enjoy that.
It's fine. I don't mind just sitting around. But yeah, I'm always ready to eat.
How do you eat so much and stay so thin, Miho?
Have you decided where you want to go?
I think so. There's a seafood restaurant that isn't too far away that I enjoy, but don't go to very often. Does that work for both of you?
I'm okay with anything. I just like food.
Indeed. It's your birthday, so we'll have whatever you want.
All right. Let's get going then.
The restaurant is a bit of a walk from Aspen's apartment. But it's a nice day, so I don't mind. We end up at a pier not too far from the museum I visited. It's not a very big place, but it's bigger than a bell house. Half of it juts out over the ocean itself. We get seated right away at a long table with metal stools.
It sure smells fishy.
It's supposed to. That means it's fresh.
Yeah, I don't really like seafood that much. Our waiter brings 3 menus, setting one in front of each of us, and promises to come take our order soon. Aspen and Juliet both pick up their menus and start to flip through, so I do the same.
Let me know if you need help reading anything, Miho.
Thanks.
Fortunately, there are plenty of pictures. The Bell House could learn a thing or two from here. I'm even able to read some of the words, like fish and corn. But there are others I don't recognize at all.
What do you usually get here, Aspen?
Well, they're most well known for their crab, although it's very messy. And expensive, so I've never had it. I usually get the clam chowder or fish and chips if I want to hate myself later.
Fish and chips aren't that caloric, right? Am I missing something here? I've made them at home. They're not that, they're like 400 calories a serving, man. Well, I mean, I guess you could load the fuck up with chips. Oh. Ook.
Oh. What's chowder?
You know, good question. I actually don't know how to describe chowder. Because there's chili chowder. They have chicken chowder too. But when you think of chowder, you think of clam chowder. I guess it's the potatoes, right? Or some kind of starch that thickens it. That's what makes it chowder.
It's like a thick soup.
Oh. Isn't it hard to eat clams? I've tried before, but I couldn't get past the shells.
Miho, you can't keep getting away with this. You can't keep getting away with how cute you are.
They do that for you. No shells involved.
Whoa! That's nice of them.
I'm sure they'd be glad to hear that. Is there something you usually order when you go out to eat?
Nah, Miho doesn't eat out very often, except junk food.
Oh, I've never been to a restaurant before. Unless you count the Bell House. Well, not as a paying customer, at least. But I know how they work because I've seen them on TV.
Does Miho canonically watch Hell's Kitchen?
I hope you enjoy your first time then.
I will.
Both of you, feel free to order whatever you'd like. Don't worry about the price.
Don't worry, I wasn't.
A nearby door swings open, and for a second I can see into the kitchen as another waiter comes out, carrying a big bucket. A number of spiny claws and legs poke out of it.
Wait. Is that...
They take the bucket to another table and set it down along with a big pile of napkins.
The crab? Yes.
Oh, it's one of those places. Yeah, I've had it before where they like just bring out a big old bucket and just dump it on your table, and y'all dig in with the butter. I don't even know what type of freaking accent that was. I watch intently, curious to see how people are going to get past the shells.
You shouldn't stare, you know.
Stare. I ignore her. I have to know. Oh, dude, my audio peaked. Alright. They grab some utensils that I've never seen before and use those to crack the shells. I watch, fascinated while they do. Turning back to Aspen and Juliet, I've made up my mind.
I want that!
Yeah, treat yourself. My hands are too hard, and I'm used to love eating crab. It's been a long time since I've had it though.
It would be nice to try at least once.
Sounds like it's settled then.
Our waiter shows back up, a few glasses of water in hand, and Juliet orders for all of us. The waiter takes the menus back, saying our food should be out before long. I sip my water and look around, enjoying the new experience.
Have you ever been here before, Juliet?
I haven't. As I'm sure you know, I don't go out to eat very often. I've been to similar restaurants before, though.
You went to the Bell House back when it first opened, didn't you? I seem to recall you telling me that once.
I did, yes. I can still remember what I had. A chai latte with a blueberry scone.
Maybe I just haven't had good chai, but every single time I've tried it because I hear everyone likes it. It's not. It ain't it, Chief. It doesn't taste very good.
Were you working there yet?
Oh no, it was a few years before I came to Welly. Although, Regina, my boss, wants to expand. There's going to be a second location opening in a couple months. She asked me if I would consider being store manager.
Oh, congratulations! That's quite the honor.
You'd get to run the whole place?
I would still be working for her, but otherwise, yes. I haven't decided if I want to do it or not, though. It would be a lot more work and responsibility, obviously. It would take up much more of my time, too. I'm not sure if I want to put myself through that.
That's understandable. I do think you'd be well suited for it, though.
Yeah, you already do a lot at the other Bell House.
Thanks. Yes, it is tempting.
I just realized. Nope, never mind. I lost that train of thought.
I told her I'll think about it and give her an answer by the end of next month. The building it'll be in is already a coffee shop, so it won't take too long to convert. It all depends on some other things, really.
Like what?
Well, for one, I'd been thinking about keeping this a secret until I hear back, but I finally finished a draft of my manuscript. I sent it off to a few publishers to see what they think.
Oh, congratulations, Aspen. That's a stunning achievement.
Yeah! What are you gonna do with all your free time now?
Thank you. That's a good question. I'm sure I'll spend plenty of it worrying. Other than that, I will need to find some new ways to fill my day.
Another day, another anxiety attack.
If all goes well, then I won't have time to help out at the new store. I'm getting rather ahead of myself, though. It's only been a little over a week since I submitted it.
Oh. I hope it works out for you.
Me too.
We sit and talk about the usual stuff for maybe 15 or 20 minutes before a waiter comes out of the kitchen carrying a giant bucket like the one we saw earlier. Aspen and I both gasp in awe as they place it on the table before us with a flourish, giving us a stack of napkins and tools like the other group.
Well, let's not just stare. Dig in!
I don't even know where to start.
I grab one of the pieces closest to me. It's hot. So hot, I drop it on my plate. Aspen does the same thing with a yelp of pain. Juliet, on the other hand, seems totally unbothered as she calmly claims a portion for herself. Leaning in, I blow on my food to keep it cool. I blow on my food to try and cool it down. While I do, I watch Juliet to observe how she does it. She smiles when she notices me watching, and turns her hand to give me a better view as she uses the as she uses the tool to crack the shell and get to the meat. Aspen seems to know what she's doing too, once it's cool enough for her to handle. Now I just need to give it a try. I try to mimic what I saw Juliet do, and after a moment of squeezing really hard, it finally works.
That was a lot easier than trying to use my own claws.
I should hope so.
I pile it onto my fork and take a big bite, finally getting to enjoy my prize. I feel my eyes go wide with how good it is.
Enjoying it?
Crab shrimp is probably okay for seafood. Crawfish too. I guess lobster. Shellfish.
Yeah.
I quickly finished the piece I was eating, and then rushed to grab another one. It's a lot easier to crack now that I know what I'm doing. For a while, the only sounds coming from our table are those of us enjoying our food and the occasional sip of water. When our waiter comes by to give us refills, they look a little shocked at how much we've already gone through. When the bucket is finally empty, and I sadly toss a shell of my last piece into the waste bag, Juliet seems to pick up on it.
Are you still hungry, Miho?
Hungry? No. Do I want to eat more? Yes. That was delicious.
Juliet glances at Aspen, who shrugs.
I could eat more.
The next time the waiter passes by, Juliet flags them down with a smile.
Could we get a second order of this, please?
Yeah, round 2. Treat yourselves. It feels like it may as well be my birthday party instead of Aspen's. By the time we get through the second bucket, even I can't eat anymore, and we leave the restaurant in a bit of a daze.
I don't know if I've ever been this full in my life.
Me too. I think I'm set on crab for a long time now. Thanks for dinner though, Juliet. It was wonderful.
Of course. It was my pleasure. I hope you've had a nice birthday.
I certainly have. Now, if I can make it back home, I'll call it a success. I feel like I've put on several kilos just from that meal.
It's seafood. You can't get fat off of seafood. At least that's what my parents tell me.
Would you like me to call you a taxi?
No, it's fine. Walking some of this off will be good for me. I still have to pack and get ready for tomorrow.
I suppose Miho and I will head home as well then. Does that sound okay, Miho?
Yeah. Let's just walk slow.
No, what you do is, right, you milk the situation, Miho. You turn into a fox, and you have Juliet carry you home. Still, I manage a weak wave.
Bye, Aspen. Happy birthday again.
Thank you again. Good night to you both. I'll see you two tomorrow.
Aspen trudges off, but Juliet somehow seems unfazed.
Shall we be off?
Taking a deep breath, I steel myself for the long walk home.
Yeah. Let's go.
The afternoon of Aspen's departure, she is unusually quiet. Although she shows up for breakfast like normal, she barely says a word throughout the whole meal, other than yes please, and no thanks. From the way she keeps checking her phone and messing with her face and clothes, I can tell something must be on her mind. I figure she's just antsy about her trip, so I don't bring it up or try to talk to her. Instead, Juliet and I mostly chat until we're done eating and the dishes are cleaned up. The moment we're finished, Aspen perks up a little.
Miho, are you ready to go to the bus station?
Yeah! This way, you have as much time as possible to get back.
Precisely. Thank you.
Of course!
Before departing, Juliet approaches Aspen and gives her a hug. From the outside, I realize that hugs look kinda weird. People have come up with the strangest ways to show they care about each other.
Safe travels, Aspen. Let us know when you get there.
Will do. I won't have reception while traveling, but I'll send a message as soon as I'm home.
How long's your trip?
If it was by car, only a couple hours. It'll be closer to 4 by bus, though. I'll take an early one on the way back tomorrow just to be safe.
Ample reading time, it sounds like.
Oh, yes.
She drums her fingers on a book tucked into her bag.
Patricia and I have a lot of catching up to do.
Although she's still fidgety, it seems like Aspen remembers how to speak. After spending an unusually long amount of time adjusting her skirt and hair, she finally faces me brightly.
Well, shall we be off, Miho?
Yep.
Goodbye, Aspen. Good night, Miho.
Bye!
Later!
Aspen holds the front door open for me as we exit the library.
Where exactly is the bus station?
Not too far from my apartment. We'll pass it by on the way there.
Should we stop by and say hi to the cats? I'm sure they'd love to see me.
They're going to be angry enough at me for leaving for a day. I'm not sure I want to traumatize them right before I go.
Dang it. I've never gotten along with cats.
Have you known many?
Only a few. Some of the strays have some really good stories to tell.
The two of us walk along in silence for a little bit before Aspen pokes me on the shoulder. I've gotten more used to physical contact like that, but it still surprises me every time.
What's it like talking to an animal, anyway? How do you do it?
I'm not sure. It was just something that I knew how to do. Like, make a lot of the time, you can just feel what they mean without saying it. I don't know how to put it.
I accidentally clicked. I'm sorry, guys.
No, that makes sense. There are some things that you just can't put into words, as much as you'd like to.
Exactly! I have the problem a lot. I'll bet you don't, though.
You'd lose that bet quite handily. Why, I'd say I struggle to put things into words more than anything.
Really? How? I thought you loved writing.
I do, usually, but it's not that simple. Sometimes you just can't use any old words. You have to use the right ones. And often that means going through lots and lots of the wrong ones until you find them.
I think it's easier the way animals do it.
It certainly sounds like it. I often wonder if I could talk to Percy and Byron, what they would have to say. Maybe they just complain about me not feeding them enough or something.
Oh, that's the cats. Percy and Byron, huh?
Do you want me to ask them?
It's tempting, but no thanks. As long as I don't know for a fact that they're saying rude things, I can convince myself that they're not. Rather like that other cat in the box.
Cats like being in boxes, so they probably wouldn't be complaining.
Not quite what I meant, but I'll take it.
For a bit, Aspen hums quietly to herself while we walk. I don't know if she knows that I can hear her. Even though she's being more chatty, there's still something that seems a little bit off about Aspen. I can't quite place my finger on what it is, though. At one point, she checks her phone and starts to walk a little bit quicker.
Are you looking forward to going home?
If she has to think about it, that kind of answers my question.
I am, yes. But like I said, I prefer to only do so for a day or two at a time.
'Cause of your parents?
A little. They're not really that bad, though. Mum's a worrywart and Dad isn't, so Mum feels like she needs to worry enough for both of them. It's not too bad over the phone, but when I'm there, Mum always tries to convince me to stay and move back. So I tell them they should move out here instead, and Mum goes into why they can't, and it's just tiresome.
Sounds like she cares about you a lot.
She does. And I love her too, don't get me wrong. It's more the town than them. Or rather, the lack thereof.
What do you mean?
They live in the middle of nowhere. Mum loves it out in the countryside and says she can't live without her backyard view and half a kilometre from the nearest neighbours. I, on the other hand, can't live without bookstores and coffee shops and high-speed internet.
Can't... Can we have both? Can't my nearest neighbor just be a coffee shop and bookstore?
So that's why you moved to Wellington?
That's why I moved to Wellington. It seemed like a necessity to make it as an author.
I try to put together the things she's been telling me into one big picture.
Can you only find the right words here?
Exactly. At least, that's what I thought before I came. Turns out that moving to a new city won't magically make you a better writer. Or even a writer at all. Back when I was in school, I used to daydream about what life in the big city must be like. Busy and important things happening during the day, and then nights full of excitement and sparkling wonder. Instead, it's the Bell House, and a tiny apartment the size of my living room back home. I thought if I put myself in this new environment, then I'd grow into the type of person who belonged there. I learned the hard way that places don't change who we are.
They can, though. They can, but not always.
Still, better to be struggling to make it in the city than doing nothing out in the boonies, I tell myself.
I think it sounds pretty nice. Peace and quiet, nothing to have to worry about.
Ugh, not you too. That's exactly what my mum says. Trust me, it sounds better hearing about it than living it. Just like Wellington. Or any city, I'd imagine. I'm sure even Wellington must seem like a bore compared to some of the places you've been to, like Shanghai or Seoul.
Well, yeah. I still like it though. Those cities are too big for me. They're noisy and loud and smell bad, and anything can be dangerous. You have to be on your guard all the time.
Yeah, I don't like big cities either. They're fun to visit, not fun to live in.
It's not like that here. The scariest thing I've seen was a movie.
That's true. I'm glad. I'm glad you liked it enough to stay.
Me too.
We're well into the city, pretty far past Cuba Street and the Bell House. Now that I've been there once, I also recognize Te Papa, the museum when we pass by it. By now, there isn't much I don't recognize. I've been all over this part of Wellington enough that I could probably get from here to Mount Victoria with my eyes closed. I memorized other cities the same way when I lived there, but for the most part, once I left, I forgot all about them. I'm not sure I'd ever be able to forget the streets of Wellington, though, even if I wanted to. Instead of humming, Aspen starts fidgeting again as we walk, messing with her phone and purse and hat and glasses. I recognize the shop and apartment buildings from the walk to Aspen's house, though we can't be very far from the station.
Are you nervous?
Me? No. No. Why would I be? Do I seem nervous?
Yeah. Is it because of the bus? You don't have to worry about that. I've ridden on them lots of times and they only broke down like once.
Miho, thanks, but also not not the point.
No, it's not that. I mean, no, I'm not nervous.
Okay.
Yeah, whatever you say, Aspen. I've never seen Aspen more nervous. Though I still don't push it. I can hear and smell the bus station before I see it. Then it comes into view. There are 2 or 3 buses parked or passing through. I wonder if one of them is Aspen's. We stop across the street and she checks her phone again, then puts it away.
You're not late, are you? Oh, I could have walked faster.
No, no, we're right on time. It'll be here any minute now.
Cool. I'll wait with you till it arrives.
I start to cross the road, but stop when I notice Aspen isn't following. Instead, she's standing on the sidewalk, gripping the strap on her bag tightly.
Aspen?
I trot back to her, looking around to see if I'm missing something new. Looking around to see if I'm missing something, but there's nothing other than a couple of people waiting far away at the station.
Are you alright?
She blinks a couple of times and then takes a deep, deep breath before facing me.
Miho, I have to tell you something.
The effect of her words is immediate. Thud. Thud. Like she cast a spell, my heart starts to race. Whatever she's going to say must be why she was acting so weird all afternoon. Is it something bad? Is she not going to come back after all?
Yeah?
I barely managed to croak out an answer. I can't handle more heartbreak so soon.
It's something that I've been thinking about telling you for a long time. But it was one of those things where I wasn't sure how. Or when. Because I didn't know how you'd take it.
Are you about to confess, Aspen? Are you? Aww. What could it even be? We just saw Juliet, so it can't be anything to do with her. Lena?
But then, after we all talked the other night, I realized that I should just say it anyway. Because no matter what, I know I would regret it more later if I didn't. Who knows how many more chances I might get? So I thought about it. A lot. What the right words were. And I just couldn't figure it out. So I didn't prepare. I'm just saying this, somehow, and hoping. God, I'm actually saying this, aren't I?
The grip on her hat shifts, clutching it so tightly her knuckles are turning white. I feel frozen in place, not sure what to do or say. All I can do is stare. My heart feels like it's going to explode out of my chest while she looks down on the ground. Whispering something to herself, she wrings her hat in her hands before finally looking back to me.
There's something I want you to know. Miho, I used to think that there was no way someone like you could exist. Someone who looks at the world like you do, and is honest about what you see, the good and the bad. And at the same time, someone who doesn't realize just how much she has to offer, just how much you make people happy. But here you are. Maybe meeting you used up all my luck for the rest of my life. But here you are, and I love you. And I just couldn't keep not telling you that, in case maybe you love me too.
Aww. Aww.
I couldn't keep just hoping and wondering and not knowing. And now that I've said it, it feels so good to have out there. I love you, Miho. I love you. At first, I wasn't sure because everything seemed too perfect and unreal. I thought that I was just letting myself get carried away like I always do. A silly little daydream, but it's true. It makes me feel silly how much already, when I think of how utterly stupid it always sounded to me when reading about love at first sight. But how could it be anything else? I don't believe in coincidence, Miho. My life was changed the moment I saw you. I just didn't know it yet. Now I do. Now we both do. I love you, Miho. It's out there, and I can't take it back.
Her words drift away into the air as we look at each other in silence. My head is TV static, buzzing with nothing to show. Not because it's empty, but because there's too much for me to process. Aspen, in love? With me? Wind whips past my face as a bus rolls by, pulling into the station. I barely noticed it, barely able to notice anything. Aspen is in love with me? I don't know what to say. But Aspen raises a finger to her lips.
Shh. Don't tell me. I said it now before I leave for a reason, because I thought you might say that. Tomorrow, whatever it is you feel, I'll hear it then.
I look at her face for some guide on how to respond, but she just gives a smile. A weak, fragile smile. Left dumbfounded, I nod. Aspen is in love with me? Returning her hat to her head, Aspen sighs, like she just finished a hard day's work.
Well, that's it. All I have to say, I suppose. As if that wasn't one of the most important things I've ever said in my life. That's my bus. So, I'll see you tomorrow, Miho. And no matter what, it's okay. If we just carry on being friends like normal, I'm fine with that. More than fine. I'm just glad that I took the chance to tell you.
For how nervous she was a few minutes ago, she does seem a lot calmer now. I may as well be a statue as Aspen starts to walk past me, but then she pauses.
May I give you a goodbye hug?
That much I can respond to at least.
Yeah.
We wrap our arms around each other, that weird human custom. Everything may have just changed, but she's still the same Aspen she was when we left the library. I try to listen for what she might be saying without words as she squeezes me tight. Finally, she steps away with a smile. It might be the most genuine one I've ever seen on her face.
Bye, Miho.
Bye.
Hey, game, listen. You better not. You better not be playing the whole, hey, she confesses, and then she's gonna go away, and she'll be back the next day. But the next day doesn't come because Miho or something happens, and they can't meet in time, and she forgets about Miho. Don't do this to me. I make my way back to the library like a zombie, my feet moving without really thinking about it. Aspen's words keep replaying over and over in my head. I get them, but I can't make sense of them. There's not a sound to be heard from the empty aisles when I enter, Juliet having finished tidying up in the hour or so that's passed since I left. After a quick glance around, I head towards the stairs. When I head up to the second floor, I spot a sliver of light from underneath Juliet's bedroom door. I knock, and it opens just a moment later. Juliet greets me with a calm smile at first, but the corners of her mouth falter as she looks at my face. I don't quite know what expression I'm making right now. I don't know what I'm even feeling to begin with.
Miho? Did something happen?
Aspen said she's in love with me.
Oh, I see.
Juliet's not the type to be shocked easily. That's why I wanted to see her for advice. But she's even less surprised than I thought she would be.
Give me just a moment, and I'll meet you in my study.
I nod and head over there, opening the door. As I walk into the darkness, I'm met by several pairs of eyes. Just as startled as I am, several bats begin to flap their wings and noisily take flight, chittering overhead before most of them leave out the open window. The biggest one watches me for a bit longer before departing as well. By the time Julia enters the study and turns on the lamp, it's just me and her.
Sorry I scared off all your bats.
It's fine. Don't worry. I'll be back before too long.
We settle down in the same seats as last time, while Julia behind her desk and me across from it.
So, Aspen.
Yeah. Aspen.
Yep, Aspen. I wonder what Aspen's thinking right now. Is her head as much of a mess as mine? Probably, knowing her. Yeah, she's probably on the bus, like slamming her forehead against the window. Like, she played it cool, but she's absolutely not feeling cool right now. uh,
We had just gotten to the bus station when she stopped and said it. She said she waited until just before she left, so she didn't have to hear my feelings until tomorrow, when she gets home.
And what are your feelings?
I don't know. I'm not sure. I haven't ever thought about love or someone being in love with me. I don't even really know what it means. I know the word, but how does it feel? How would I know? The other day, you talked about how much you loved Cosette, and how you didn't know much about love before then. This is a different love from that, right?
she thinks to herself for a while, carefully considering her answer. I'm glad she does. At least one of us can stand back and think this over properly.
Yes and no. Of course, the bond between a parent and their child is different than that of two partners, but it comes from the same part of the heart. The part that you give away to somebody else. Love is when you care about another person so much that the feeling becomes bigger than you. When your life is more full and joyful for the presence of that person in it. I could throw out any number of cliches, but they'd be meaningless. What love means and how it feels are different for every person. To speak from my own experiences, love is like a flower. It starts as something tiny, but as it's nurtured and cared for, it grows. It reaches toward the sunlight and towards something better and blooms into something beautiful. Not all flowers grow at the same rate, and not all flowers look the same. But wouldn't you agree that that's the joy of flowers, Miho?
I look up from the floor towards Juliet, who's watching me warmly.
I like flowers, but I've never grown one before.
The same can be said for everyone at some point. But as long as you're willing to give it the time and patience that it deserves, even the tiniest seed can become something wonderful.
Juliet must see the confusion on my face, because she touches my hand gently.
You should take some time to yourself, Miho. We can talk about it later tonight, if you're ready. If you needed even more time, I'm sure Aspen would understand.
Yeah. I need to think about it. And sorry for waking you up. Or keeping you up. Whichever.
It's no trouble at all. I'm glad that you felt comfortable coming to me about this.
It was the first thing I did. Thanks, by the way. You've helped me out a lot.
Of course. It's my pleasure. It's what friends are for.
Juliet returns to bed, and I go back to my room as well. I sit down on the floor, which is where I've done a lot of my best thinking lately. I lean against my bed and turn on the TV. There are sure a lot of shows about love, isn't there? It's difficult to imagine that concept applying to me. I do know that I care about Aspen a lot. I like being around her. I like talking to her. I look forward to seeing her when she's not there. We're friends, but could we be more than that? I spend a few hours stewing my thoughts and not coming to any conclusions. Love feels like something that couldn't and shouldn't apply to me. And yet, here I am. Hours pass as I consider the issue from every different angle. I end up with more questions than answers. Is it something I want? Is it something I could even do? What I choose to say to Aspen doesn't just affect me, but affects her too. No matter what, both of our lives are about to change. No matter what, I have to make a decision. I'm sure that I'll have some doubts either way, but I can't just ignore or run away from this. So after turning it over and over in my mind, I finally make a choice. Slowly, I stand up and head downstairs. My legs feel like jelly as they carry me towards another huge moment. My hands shake, but I hold on tightly to the banister as I head down to the kitchen where Juliet's making tea. There's a second mug set on the table, full of steaming hot chocolate.
Right on time, like always. I was just about to call for you.
I heard you get up a little while ago. I was still doing some thinking, though.
I see, I see. So I take it that means you've made up your mind about Aspen, then?
Yeah, it wasn't easy, but I have.
Matters of the heart are rarely easy. Shall we sit?
Yeah.
We take our usual seats, the third one conspicuously empty. I take a big gulp of my hot chocolate, while Juliet takes a small sip of tea. Wiping my mouth with the back of my hand, I lean back in my chair, take a deep breath, and nod.
I've decided.
I want to try things with Ast. Whoa, game. You can't just. Yo. Yo, 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 yo. You can't ask me to be doing this. That's not fair. This is Miho's story, okay? Not mine. Oh my god. Yo, what do I even do at this point? Do I save Scum? No, I can't do that. You can't save Scum life. I'm flipping a coin. Heads, we go with Aspen. Tails, we say no. Heads.
I want to try things with Aspen. I know it'll be hard, but I want to try.
I feel more sure of the words as I say them. Something about this decision feels right. I do want to try. Aspen said yesterday, it's out there now, and I can't take it back.
I know she's a human, and so someday it'll hurt. But I can't just always run away from things that are painful. Because if it hurts, that means it was important, doesn't it?
It certainly does. That's a wise way to think about it.
I know I don't know much about love, or how to be in love with someone. But I'm willing to learn, and try.
As I speak, I feel something stir in my heart. A feeling of excitement that's pushed me forward, so many times before kept me motivated in my lifelong search. Is that the feeling that could grow? I've always struggled to put a name to it. Could it be?
Trying is all anyone could ask of you, Aspen or otherwise. All you have to do is be yourself. That's who Aspen fell in love with, after all. I can't tell you how happy I am for both of you.
As it begins to sink in, I feel a grin spread across my face. Aspen is in love with me, and I think that maybe, just maybe, I could be in love with her too.
Thanks. I wish she was here, so I could tell her right now. Tomorrow seems so far away.
I'm certain she's thinking the same thing. Still, it is rather like her to say something so momentous and then disappear. It took quite a while for her to work up the courage to tell you.
With a wink, Juliet lifts her Juliet lifts her teacup.
I wouldn't be surprised if she borrowed the idea from some book or another.
Now that you mention it, it does kind of sound like it was stolen from a visual novel.
Yeah. Yeah, you're probably right. And wait, you knew she was gonna tell me?
Not exactly. I've known for a long time that she held feelings for you. She never told me outright, but Aspen isn't particularly subtle.
I never noticed. But I guess I don't know what I would have been looking for either.
All that's important is that she was able to tell you how she felt, and you were able to accept those feelings. Anything along the way was but a means to the same end.
Juliet's right. Not just about Aspen, but about my life in general. As she herself pointed out not that long ago. I thought it had all been for nothing. Pointless ever since Chongqing died without my knowing. As if I'd reached a dead end myself. But that was just the end of a chapter in my life, not the whole story, as Aspen would say. I had thought my life as I knew it was ending, and maybe that was true. On the other hand, I feel like a new life for myself is just beginning, one that isn't so solitary and lonesome. Nearly every day, I discover something new about myself. Things I used to think were impossible, at least for someone like me. Maybe I'm not so different after all. I've found a new place to belong, and someone new to share my life with, as much of it as I can. Aspen, who's seen just so many different sides of me as I have of her, and who still chooses to tell me she loved me, even though she'd never told anyone that before. I can't wait for her to get back, so we can find out what's next together. With nothing more to really say about it until Aspen returns, Juliet and I move to talk about other things, like the library and recent events. I feel pleasantly warm, like I'm glowing, as we sit there and chat. The sensation carries me through the rest of the evening and all the way to bed, where I lie for hours. Usually I'm frustrated when the chaos of my own thoughts stop me from falling asleep, but for the first time ever, excitement rather than fear is what keeps me awake. Instead of just waiting for the days to end, I close my eyes, looking forward to the dawn of tomorrow. Dude, do I keep going? Dude, okay. I need to prep myself because I'm scared that this is gonna take the turn I'm scared it's going to take, okay? So oh, I'm gonna grab some water and I'll be right back. Okay. I'm back. Ooh, let's do it. For once, my struggle to fall asleep worked out in my favor. I sleep until later than usual the next morning, meaning I don't have to wait as long for Aspen's bus to arrive. I've barely even woken up and I'm already thinking about her. Looking up at the ceiling, I can't help but smile. I wonder if she's thinking about me too. I'm too full of nervous energy to stay in bed for too long, so I hop up and get ready in a hurry. In the kitchen, I figured Juliet must have already eaten, cleaned up, and gone to bed, because I don't see any dishes or leftover food. To my surprise, she comes downstairs just a minute after I do.
Good morning.
Hey! I didn't wake you up, did I?
No, not at all. Although I was upstairs, I thought I'd wait and have breakfast with you like usual.
Oh, thanks. Sorry for keeping you waiting. I kind of fell asleep late, so I slept in too.
Understandable. I'm sure you have lots on your mind.
You can say that again.
I take my seat at the table while Juliet pokes through the fridge.
Are you hungry for anything in particular?
Not really. Maybe something light? I don't think I can finish a big meal right now.
Chuckling, Juliet retrieves a couple of pieces of fruit and some cheese.
Butterflies in your tummy?
Nah, I haven't eaten anything. I'm just nervous.
I'm sure I would be too, in your position. Although, Aspen did the difficult task of taking the first step. You have the luxury of being the one to respond.
Is that really a luxury? Right? Like, what if I said no?
That's true.
That was literally a coin flip. A coin flip, my dudes. Juliet sets a platter with slices of apples and oranges, as well as a few blocks of cheese on the table between us, and I idly munch on some fruit.
Do you want to come wait at the station with me? I'm leaving after we're done eating.
I'll pass, but thank you. The two of you will have plenty to talk about on your own, I'm sure. But I imagine I'll see you both later tonight?
Definitely.
The minutes pass by, agonizingly slow, especially after Juliet goes to bed, but eventually, it's late enough for me to leave. I burst up out of my seat, forcing myself not to walk too fast. As long as I'm walking, I'm doing something. If I get there too early, I have to wait. I hate waiting. Humming to myself, I follow the same route Aspen and I took yesterday. If I wanted to, I probably could have found a faster way, or even a longer way to kill some more time. It's not worth the risk of getting lost, though. The closer I get to the station, the faster my heart races. The growing anticipation, the way I can't think about anything else. It reminds me of something. Something I haven't experienced in ages. It reminds me of the days in the forest, towards the end of my time as a regular fox. The way it felt on the way to the clearing every day to see my person. Back then it was different, of course. More instinct, less thinking, but still pushed me forward. That was love, wasn't it? In my own way, like Juliet said. Usually something like that would make me stop in my tracks, but today it just makes me smile. My good mood carries me the rest of the way to the bus station. I pause at the intersection where we stood yesterday, when Aspen said everything. The spot will be special to me forever, I already know. I hurry across to the other side. There are a handful of other people waiting, standing or leaning against the fence. I sit down on one of the empty benches, practically buzzing with anticipation. I watch the clock as it continues to tick away until the scheduled minute comes, and there's no bus. I sigh, disappointed but not too surprised. Since when are buses ever exactly on time anyway? Soon the bus is a couple minutes late, then 5 minutes, and it gets harder and harder not to worry.
Good thing she left early.
I notice that I'm not alone. Some of the other people waiting are beginning to get agitated too. One person stands on the edge of the sidewalk, peering in either direction. A couple others who have been waiting in the boarding zone since I got here sit down on one of the benches near me and pull out their phones. One of them taps a few times, reads something, and then groans.
Told you. Delayed. Says it right here.
Guess I owe you a tenner. It say how long?
Nope. Just says delayed due to vehicle issues.
Dread seizes me. With a shaky hand, I tap one of the travelers on the shoulder.
Excuse me. Which bus is it that's delayed?
Ah, that be Route 4. You waiting for it too?
My friend's on it. I don't know which, but she was supposed to be here 10 minutes ago.
Aye. Well, probably the same one then. Bad luck, but it does happen every now and then. I hope you weren't in a hurry.
I was, actually. Do you know what they'll do? What'll happen to the people on the bus?
Well, I imagine the city will have to send someone out, figure out what's wrong, fix it, or send a replacement. I'm sure your friend will get here one way or another, but it could be hours. You might want to give them a call and find out where they are. Might be quicker for them to find their own ride home.
I vault off the bench before he's even finished speaking, dashing back the way I came.
Hey, good luck.
I barely hear him. All the buses to break down. Of all the days for it to happen. As I run, I can't help but think about how unfair it is. For anyone else in the world, a hour a couple hour bus delay would be annoying, but that's it. But for me and Aspen, I don't even want to think about what it would be like if she forgot me. After getting back to the library in record time, I practically crash through the doors as I head upstairs. For the second day in a row, I knock on Juliet's bedroom door before having to bend over to catch my breath. It's been ages since I've run that long, and it shows. Juliet answers the door quickly.
Miho? What's wrong?
Aspen's bus still isn't here. Someone at the station said one of them broke down on the way. What if it was hers?
Wordlessly, Juliet hurries to retrieve her phone. It looks weirdly out of place in her hands as she navigates through several screens, slower than Aspen would. Her face turns grim after only reading for a moment.
It seems you're right.
The confirmation just tightens the knot in my chest, and I just barely manage to croak out a question.
What do we do?
How long do you have left?
2 hours. A little less.
She shouldn't be too far away. I'll try calling her.
It doesn't even ring, and instead it goes straight to voicemail. I look up at Juliet helplessly, trying to ignore the panic that'll overrun me if I let it.
She did say that she'd have poor reception en route. Here, Miho. Keep trying. I'll be back in a moment.
She hands me the phone and shows me how to use it before hurrying into her bedroom. I hit the button again, staring at a small contact photo of Aspen that Juliet had saved. There's a picture of Aspen at the breakfast table, smiling awkwardly. Her voicemail message starts again, so I cancel and try it again, and again, and again. It's the same result every time. I end the call and start another one for what must be the 6th or 7th time.
Juliet, is that...
My thumb is on the end button out of habit, and I barely manage to stop myself from pressing it.
Aspen!
There's a loud burst of static.
Oh? You?
Aspen! It's me! Where are you?
Juliet comes back when she hears me, waiting anxiously by my side. Aspen says something again, but it's garbled by the connection.
What? I can't hear you!
Fucking reception. Let me...
Oh boy. Everything goes quiet, and for a terrible moment, I'm afraid that the call has dropped.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Instead, I nearly drop the phone when her voice comes through again, much clearer this time.
Good. I can't move from this spot then. It's the only place I have service.
Where are you?
God, we're so close. I can literally see the city in the distance. Something's wrong with the bus. I don't know what. They said there's another one coming to pick us up, but I'm not sure when it's supposed to be here.
We only have 2 hours before.
I know.
Trust me, I know. I was hoping the replacement would be here sooner, but that's not going to happen.
Aspen, you said you're close. Do you know where exactly?
I don't, no, but there's just the one road into the city, and I can see it. That's what I'll do, actually. I'll start walking towards the city, and hopefully I'll see the other bus on the way.
Will that work?
I don't know. I'm going to do it anyway.
Juliet and I look at each other. I wonder if she has the same thought I do.
Okay, I'm coming too.
What? Coming where?
Wherever you are. You said it's just one road, right? I'll meet you on it.
You'll... Okay, I understand.
I'll be there on time. I promise.
From the other end of the line comes the very clear sound of Aspen sniffling.
Okay, I'll see you soon. As soon as I start walking, I'll probably lose reception again. I'll try to call you when I can.
Okay. Okay, I'm on my way.
The line clicks dead, and I try to hand Juliet her phone back, but she shakes her hand.
Hold on to it. You can bring it back to me after you find her.
I nod. There's no time to talk about anything else.
How do I get there?
Juliet pulls up a map and shows me, pointing out where the library is.
I was going to try to find a taxi. Between traffic and everything else, I'm not sure it would be faster. It's so far away though, Miho. Are you sure you'll be alright?
I will. I have to be.
I immediately make for the stairs, pausing for just a second.
Thanks.
Thank me later. Together.
I nod and then I transform as I bolt out the front door. Foxes can't run as long as humans can, but they can run faster. As a Gumiho, maybe I can do both. Wind whips at my tails as I rush forward, channeling whatever willpower and determination I can into running. The map Juliet gave me showed which road to take to get out of the city, but I don't need roads. I run straight for the edge of town, dodging traffic, pedestrians, and more. Dogs bark as I race through their yards. Shocked people gape as I dash past them without paying any attention. I don't even know how long I ran for. I just know that I don't stop. Even when my legs and chest start to ache, I keep going. The low pain now is nothing compared to what losing Aspen would be like. The buildings begin to thin out, even as traffic increases, and finally I find myself out of Wellington. Following the road, I race towards where Aspen must be. Cars and trees fly by, replacing the buildings and street signs. There are hills and forests that I'm sure are as beautiful as everything else I've seen, but I hardly notice them at all. The longer I run, the more it starts to take its toll on me. Against my will, I can feel my speed flagging, each step taking just a little more effort than the last. I push this form to its absolute limit, and eventually it brings me to a halt. I change forms once again, gasping for air as I place my hands on my knees, trying to catch my breath. The run from the station back to the library winded me, and this was many times harder. I can't stop moving. I have to keep going. I have to. Lungs on fire, and with my legs feeling like lead, I make myself take another step, and then another. Mustering all my strength, I break into a jog, the fastest I can manage. I keep my gaze set on the horizon, hoping for a glimpse of her. Anything to set my heart and mind at ease. Anything. The sun begins to dip even lower, as if even the skies are reminding me that the time is running out. My steps are leaden, and my mind abuzz with wordless fear and worry. At first, I don't believe my eyes when I finally spot someone walking in my direction, far off in the distance. Please, let it be her. A steady trot is all I can do by now, and I let even that slow to a normal walking pace. The other figure and I walk towards each other, but the sun shines in my face, obscures them from my vision. Raising one hand to shield my eyes, I see a familiar hat, the glint of light on familiar glasses. I see Aspen running towards me. All I can do is stand there, overwhelmed with relief, so intense that all I can do is shake. I made it. He's here.
Miho!
As she approaches, she also slows, and then comes to a stop.
Miho!
I don't even know what to say. How can I respond? Can I put all the excitement, the worry, and the relief she's made me feel in the past 24 hours into words? How do I say it? Silently, I close the distance between us. I can see her eyes searching mine, looking for an answer to the unspoken question. Overhead, the sun dips behind a cloud, done watching us for the day, and throwing a handful of colors into the sky as it leaves. I struggled to find words before, but this is different. Like Aspen said, not just any words will do. I stop, just an arm's length away from Aspen, close enough to see the glint of tears hiding in her eyes.
I was so worried.
Her voice is barely a whisper. I can't hear anything else. Looking up into her eyes, I'm surprised to find the answer to my own question. One that I didn't know I wanted to ask until just now. One that requires more than words. Or maybe less. Yeah! I take the last step that separates us and lean forward to kiss Aspen. The marks of human affection have always seemed so strange and foreign to me, maybe even unappealing. As I kiss her, I think I understand. Without hesitation, Aspen's hand rises to touch my face, holding me in place as if I'd want to leave. She moves like she was waiting for this. Maybe she was. It's unlike anything I've ever felt before. The closeness, the warmth. I place my own hand against her wrist. I think maybe I understand Aspen's fears a little better now, because I would also be content if this moment lasted forever. Even when we separate, Aspen's hands stay on my shoulder, keeping me close.
I see you thought about what I said.
And practically nothing else.
Pulling me into a hug, Aspen rests her face against mine.
So I wasn't the only one then.
She sighs contentedly.
There's so much more I want to say, but this is hardly the place to say it now, is it?
I'd nearly forgotten where we were. Not far from the side of the road. Turning around, I look back at the city, which is starting to light up for the evening.
Oh, right. It's kind of a long way home, you know.
Aspen squeezes my hand.
I have all the time in the world.
Damn. Open ending. Chapter 4? There's more. Wait. Is there more? Oh my god. Keeps going. Well, sadly, y'all lot are gonna have to wait until next time. Or, maybe go pick up the game. Support the developers. Something. Alright. I'll see you guys next time. As always, thank you for watching.